So any sports fans out there, we've all been there, right? I mean, we've all been there. The ref makes a bad call, right? The last minute, your team loses, like out of nowhere. And you're standing there in the middle of the room, just in like not to quote Anchorman, but in the glass case of emotions. And you're sad, but you're angry, and you're sad because it's all over after a whole season of cheering them on and it's just done. But you're just infuriated at this ref, this idiot who can make such a bad call, and it's clearly on the screen, you can see it, it was a clear foul or whatever it was, and now you're just standing in your living room cursing for no reason, right? Today I will be highlighting for you the incorporation of the new goal line technology in professional soccer. Being a soccer player for more than 10 years now, I've seen my fair share of bad calls and horrible refs, so I feel like there's plenty of instances where I thought, I really wish we had some kind of technology or something so this guy wouldn't screw up my game. As I mentioned, anybody in here who follows sports, not just soccer, but in lots of sports it's being integrated now, like instant replay and slow motion cameras and all that kind of stuff. So we can all kind of relate to this kind of technology and how it's being incorporated today. So today I will discuss for you what goal line technology is and how it works, where it can be seen and will be seen, and how it improves the game itself. Okay, so first of all, I will explain what the new goal line technology is and how exactly it works. The first type of technology that is used is camera-based technology, and this type of technology uses cameras located all around the stadium, usually at the highest possible point, and they actually track the ball, like a 3D image of the ball, continuously, and they can locate the ball at any time, any point in the game, and as soon as it crosses the line, it'll know, and it'll alert the referee. The next type of technology is a magnetic field, which actually uses cables located underground on the goal and actually around the goal, and it creates a magnetic field. And it's actually a special ball, like this one. You can see this is goal line technology that it uses the special ball and the magnetic field to track the ball's position, and then when it passes that magnetic field into the goal, it alerts the referee. And both of these use a special watch that the referee uses at all times, and it alerts him within 1 second of a goal, right away. And this is a big factor for many professional soccer leagues and whatnot, because they didn't want it to interfere with the game like in other sports where you have to stop and go look at a tape or something and then come back to it. This is just, it's quick. If he has it on his wrist, it's just goal, not goal. It's quick. That's pretty much how it works. So now I can explain to you where this type of technology can be seen in soccer today. You pick music? Okay. Probably the biggest example of this is the FIFA World Cup, the new one coming up. They announced that they're going to be using this type of technology. They're going to be using specifically the camera-based technology from a German company called Goal Control, and this was a huge break because this has never been seen in this large of a scale and with this big of a tournament. FIFA had been watching, debating the different companies that they could, the different technologies that they could go through, and they chose this one because they tested it at a couple other sponsored cups that they had, and it worked perfectly. It called all the goals and just had no downfall at all. The second example is the English Professional Soccer League, which is the Premier League. They chose a different company called Hawkeye, but it's pretty much the same technology. Uses cameras, but they're actually using it now. So they installed it before their 2013-2014 season, and they're using it now, and it's been working perfectly for them. There's been a few instances where it's corrected the referee, and he's called it not a goal and seen his watch, and he has to call it a goal because of the technology. So that's working perfectly for them. An example of where it could be seen in the future is the German professional league. They actually held, according to Sports Illustrated, they held a meeting of all 36 clubs last month actually to try to incorporate this in their league, but they failed to provide a 2/3 majority vote. So unfortunately they couldn't get it installed in all the stadiums, primarily because of the main concern was that it was expensive. It was gonna cost each club about $688,000 for about 3 years, and then they'd have to replace them or recalibrate them or something. But it was almost $700,000 for 3 years per club. So I mean, it's quite a bit of money, and the more higher end clubs could afford it, but the more low bottom of the table clubs had a little trouble affording that. So unfortunately, they couldn't have those installed. But now more and more clubs and leagues are making a move towards goal line technology because it's so innovative and improves the game so much. So I will finally share with you why this technology improves the game and how it aids the referees while they're calling the game. The first point I'd like to make for this is that it helps the referees perform better. From an article in theguardian.com, this is actually for baseball, but I mean it kind of goes hand in hand. In 2011, a study in the American Economic Review looked at 3.5 million pitches in the MLB, and they actually assessed whether the umpires had a bias of race, the player's race, or the type of, if it was consistently the same pitcher or the same batter, just to see if they had any biases. And they actually did find a small but significant bias in the umpires. But it seemed to be that when the umpires were being evaluated by some sort of computerized system, or when they were even performing with a large crowd where there's a lot of pressure on them, the bias went away and they actually performed a lot better. So that's one point. Another point that how it can improve the referee's point of view with this is simply the vantage point that you're looking at the ball from. So the angle that which you're seeing it can actually affect really drastically if it looks like it went over the line or not. So can you turn it back on? So I'm going to show you 3 pictures, and the ball's in the same position in all 3 pictures. This string is actually showing like the end of the line. So if the ball passes the string completely, then it's a goal. It should be. But if you're looking at it from this angle, this is the inside of the goal. So the ball has to completely pass this line right here. So here it looks like it went in. Go to the next one. Here, also, right? It looks like it went in. And then the third one, you can see it didn't completely go in. And this is some of the things that the technology would pick up because of just how precise it is. But from a referee, you're never going to be like standing over the ball like this and looking straight down on it, so you would never be able to see this. So that's one example of how it can improve and help the referee a lot, because that's really hard to see. The third example is simply the limitations of the human eye. The human eye can only process about 16 images per second, meaning that the ball would have to stay past the line a minimum of 60 milliseconds. But this is not always true. Sometimes the ball is only there for a few milliseconds before it gets kicked out, or it rebounds off, or bounces out, or whatever it is, right? So I'd like to show just a very short video. Just showing, on this side it's going to be the TV image, how you see it on TV, and on this side it's going to be a slow-mo camera. So you can get a feel for what they see and what is actually happening. little hard to tell because the ball's moving so fast. It looks like on screen, you're looking at it on screen and you're like, well, that's clearly a goal, right? Or he clearly blocked it. But in reality, you can see it clearly passed the line and came back out. But like I said, that's hard for us to do on TV, let alone the referee doing it in real life at real speed, you know? So in conclusion, today I've talked about goal line technology in professional soccer, how it works, how it is being used today, and how it aids referees to make the right call. It is undeniably a huge break in technology that will continue to spread throughout and will hopefully lead to less referees getting cussed out. Thank
All right, I like the visualization for your attention device. You've got a clear statement of the thesis. There's an excellent preview. The body of the speech is pretty well organized. I thought you did a good job presenting information in the body of the speech. I think that section at the end where you're showing the difficulty of being able to tell whether or not the ball went in might have made a little bit more sense at the beginning of the speech, because you're telling us basically, here's the solution to this problem before we've actually seen what the problem is. And so to me, I think intuitively it makes more sense to have it the other way and then show us all the camera angles and that sort of thing. And here's what they're doing. They've got the lines buried and that sort of thing. And I think it would flow a little bit more effectively. The visual parts of the presentation, I like the fact that you moved forward when the projector wasn't on and you stood front and center speaking to the audience and moved up. I thought that worked pretty well. I did see a couple of things where your feet looked like they were a little uncertain, moving around a little bit, crossing the legs. But that was, you know, you were up there for almost 11 minutes. So it did happen. It did happen that...
Why does that always happen to me?
So it's not unusual that you might have a little bit of foot movement there, but I think you need to be just a wee bit more controlled. The gestures, for the most part, I thought you had good indicators. Once in a while there were, I would barely call them nervous indicators because I didn't really see those sorts of things, but there's a couple times where you're tugging at your jacket, your sweater, and you do a couple other things. Just things to pay attention to, nothing that was big distraction here, nothing to worry about. Other things to improve on. You're very animated when you're speaking to us. I like that. Your eye contact is almost always consistent. When you do look away, you're looking at your notes, but you go right back to talking to us as soon as you know what it is the next thing that you're going to be talking about is. So I didn't have any problem there. I thought that your volume needed to be a little bit more consistent. I think you need to be a little louder sometimes, and you need to be consistent about making sure that you're projecting. Sometimes it drops off a little. I dinged you a little bit on the time because it did go over. All right. Thank you.